Welcome in. It is day 229, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going to be going over a game that is very similar to a game we just went over a few days ago. You may have remembered that we went over the game Forbidden Desert. Today we're going over Forbidden Island. Now, the concept of this game is that instead of trying to put together the pieces to fly away, you're actually trying to collect all of the different statues from within this game. So in order to do that, you're moving around the island, which is already exposed, and you're collecting cards, and somebody has to be able to get 4 of the same card, get to a location that has that card symbol, and discard them. That means you have gotten that particular token. When you have all 4 tokens, all the players have to get to the same spot, and somebody has to be able to discard one of the helipad cards on that helipad spot in order for you to escape. However, during the game, you're going to be having events happen that when you're drawing those cards, trying to get up so that you can go get these tokens, you're also going to be risking water rising. And the water rising is extremely risky because you're dealing out this board completely randomized. So depending on your situation, the water could rise and you could start losing areas and end up being in a situation where you don't have many discard spots left for a particular type. So you have to be quick. You have to be very fast at looking at the board and making a decision as to what's the most important thing to hit early. It's an interesting co-op game. It's definitely different than Forbidden Desert, and I think the reason it's different is because unlike Forbidden Desert, you start with full knowledge. You already can see the island. Forbidden Desert, you start with everything face down and you're slowly discovering what's in the desert. Forbidden Island, you see it all, but as the flood comes in, it can flip them down and now you can't go there anymore. You can drown. So it takes a different approach. Yeah, it actually might be considered a better approach, depends on the person. Personally, I think that with that extra knowledge, it's a little easier for you as a group decide to be a little bit more back away and not have somebody take the lead, because now you can say, oh, okay, I'm going to go after this. I have a couple of really good cards for it. Let me go this way, and kind of judge your own turn. I think there's still the very strong ability of somebody taking the leadership role, but this helps negate that a bit. And that makes it, for me, a slightly better game. That being said, why don't we jump in, talk our 7 categories, and see what we think about this game today. When it comes to the art, same thing as Forbidden Desert. It's beautiful art. I like the tin. It makes it a little bit better. And all of your stuff inside the game is just the same. When you see this on a shelf or when you see this set up, you stop and you look for a moment because it attracts the eye. It's a thumbs up. Your components. The components are really good. You're putting out your cardboard pieces to make your actual island. That's a good starting point. And then you have your cards, which are top notch. I'd say they're 4 out of 5 for quality. And then you're also looking at some really good pieces. You know, your 4 totems are really nice. They're these big plastics. They don't need to be as big as they are, but I like them. And I just feel like this game definitely has good quality components. It's a thumbs up. Your price. This game comes in between 30 to 40-ish. It's a smaller game than Forbidden Desert, so it's the more affordable of the two. So for me, I think that if given the choice between the two, the Forbidden Desert, I said, was a good game for your co-op players, people who love those games. Forbidden Island, because it's a smaller and slightly cheaper game, for me, is the more likely game to buy for the average person who's not necessarily a co-op fan. Somebody who might just want to throw 1 or 2 co-ops in their collection, this is the better one to go for. It's a little bit less money. You're not committing as much of your space in your closet for this or wherever you put your games. I think that it's definitely worth the price. Thumbs up. Your difficulty. I think being face up introduces this game to being a little bit more friendly for kids. I wouldn't have recommended Forbidden Desert for kids. I think that was a little harder to follow. This one is a little bit more straightforward, and for that reason, I think that brings them in. I'm already okay with it for beginners, and it's definitely one that I think not every expert, not every experienced player is going to want it, but even if you're not a co-op specific player, you'll have some interest here. So, thumbs up. Replayability. For me personally, I don't find these games to be ones that I'm going to be jumping at to replay a bunch. I kind of play it once and I'm done. But for co-op fans, it's not a long game, so you might be interested in that. And so for that reason, you might find that you're playing this a couple times in a row. That being said, if you're not a co-op specific person, I don't know how often you're going to get these games off your shelf. For me, I think replayability would have to be a thumbs down. Keys to victory. So the keys to victory are all about how you're attacking that board. What are you after? Are you trying to go after one of the totems early? Are you trying to collect more cards to see if you even have the opportunity? Are you trying to trade with other people? Depending on the role that you are, it gives you different advantages on the board. Are you taking advantage of your role, or are you taking advantage of somebody else's role? And how are you dealing with when the water is rising? Are you paying attention to the outskirts and trying to make sure you're protected against the possibility of the water rising? Or do you want to risk it and go for the stuff right next to you so you can get a totem quick and be able to then move on to something else, even though it's taking that risk of something being eliminated and you having less options later? I think that's all really good. It helps it out big. Thumbs up. Is the game unique? No. We've seen Forbidden Desert. It's the same game. You're on, essentially, it's an island, desert, doesn't matter, they're the same, randomly put out. Yes, this one's face up, that one you don't know where everything is right away, but same idea of collecting cards, get to a location so that you can get one of the items. This is 4 totems, that's 4 pieces to make your plane. Get to a location, everybody has to get there, you fly away. It's the same thing. It's made a little differently. I think this is a little bit more entry level than that one, but it's the same concept of a game. You can easily pick A or B. It's not unique. Thumbs down. Overall, what do I think? I think this is a game I recommend that if you're a co-op beginner, somebody who likes co-ops and is trying to have other people get into the collection with you of co-ops, definitely get this. If you're not a co-op, big player of co-op, but you're looking to try, I recommend you give this one your opportunity because this is a better one to come in with. And if you're not a big co-op fan, steer clear. I'm not a big co-op fan. I play once in a while, but for me, I wouldn't own these games because I just don't want to commit to a co-op game. And the Forbidden games tend to be, even though this one's better than Desert, it still does lean in the direction that there is somebody who can take charge on you. And that's the reason I'm not a co-op fan. Well, it has been day 229. We've been speaking about the game Forbidden Island. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.